Jack Eichel remains in the top 10 on NHL Network's top 20 centers list. All of that ahead on this WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will receive $20 off of your first purchase. Although he missed 19 games last season, Jack Eichel still was able to muster his second 30-goal season this past season. He earned the number 8 spot again in the NHL Network top 20 list, Chris, and we felt that Eichel could perhaps move down on that list because he missed that much time, perhaps. The biggest moves in the top 10, we suspected that Jack Hughes was a tad overrated, I think. Yeah. And we also thought that Alexander Barkov would be on the move, and he did. He soared from number 9 on the list to number 5.
Jack Hughes, I think, is the one comparison that I'm going to key in on. Jack Hughes was 9 last time. Eichel was 8. And now Jack Hughes is up to 6 above Braden Point and obviously Jack Eichel. Just looking at some side-by-sides last season, 23-24, Jack Hughes goes 62 games, 74 points, 27 goals.
Wait, so Hughes went from 6th to 9th?
All the way around.
Are you looking
all the way around? Jack Hughes. Oh, Jack Hughes was 6. Okay.
Yes.
Why did I see it?
You're looking at the older list, I think.
I'm going the other way around. Okay, yeah. So Jack Hughes actually went down.
Yes, he went down as we suspected.
That's where he should be. Okay, good. All right, yeah, okay. That's where it should be. I was going the other way. I was like, why did they put Jack Hughes above? But we can still compare the two. I mean,
no. I watch Court TV, and you can just say, strike that from the record. And
strike that from the record. No, that hasn't worked at all on our show yet. Believe me, it has not worked at all on our show yet. So, no, I mean, listen, this is better here. And listen, face-offs, we're on Jack Eichel about his face-off ability and stuff at 45, 46%. Where's Jack Hughes? I don't know if we talked about it in the last show. Do you have any idea where Jack Hughes face-off percentage is right now?
It was in the 30s. I think you said that too.
He went up 2% to 37.2.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, Jack Hughes, definitely a long way to go. Great skater, great scorer, great player. Jack Eichel is a much more complete player, so this is certainly something I agree with. I wouldn't have. I mean, listen, anywhere in the 8 to 12 range, you're probably splitting hairs for these players, who's better, who's not better, and stuff. But I guess that's where we start looking at Stanley Cup pedigree.
So in the top 10, you've got McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, Draisaitl, Barkov. You still have Crosby, Sidney Crosby, Braden Point at 7, Eichel at 8. In the top 8, I should say. And all VGK fans really would like to see is Eichel have a big season because he is elite. We watch him. We watch him every game. And to me, he is by far, for the Golden Knights, the best player on the ice, bar none. I think he's the MVP of this team. And Bruce Cassidy has developed him and his two-way ability to play defensively and on the offensive end. I just say, pretty much like this season, yes, he does need to be healthy, but I say let's see if he wears down after that Four Nations competition. That's what I'm concerned about, and that's on my radar this season.
The Four Nations is very important. We saw Mark Stone's comments the other day about it, and Mark Stone talking about wanting to make the team. Now, flip side, that might drive players to have better regular seasons. You know, they're gonna. Someone like Mark Stone is wondering if the scouts are in the stands, right? You know, going back to college days and juniors and everything like that. And kind of the same thing again. It's a refreshing feeling, not just for Mark Stone, but for anyone else who is in consideration for the Four Nations and obviously international play beyond that. So it's good. Obviously, the extra wear and tear. The good thing is the Four Nations face off. It's only a few games, so it's not nearly as grueling as an Olympic run would be.
Is it 3 or 4 games? Do you remember?
I think it's 4 max, probably. It's probably 3
That's
round.
still a lot. That's
it's
a
probably
lot.
3 round robin, then a championship. I honestly don't know the formats.
And typically, like if you're playing in an all-star competition, right? If you're playing in the game or skills or anything else, I mean, that's just not a ton of work, and you try not to get injured.
Especially for Kucherov.
Especially for Kucherov. But I think, in the Four Nations face-off, it's going to be a little bit intense. National pride for all those countries.
Really intense. It's not going to be, if we're going to go 100% is the Olympics, it's probably going to be 80, 85, 90%. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good hockey, I think.
They're going to try. They will try. They won't be Kucherov.
Oh, no, they'll be competitive. It's not trying. They'll be really competitive. Like trying would be, when they're playing in practice. That's trying. This is going to be very competitive hockey. Very fun, aggressive, competitive hockey. Back to Jack Eichel, some of the things we've talked about. We need him to have a big season, right? You want him to have a big season. You want to see him do well for the Golden Knights. And again, something that everyone last season, now everyone's trying to find ways to accept, if you will, the loss of Marchessault from the Vegas Golden Knights. They're talking about how good of a season Eichel had and how Eichel was maybe responsible for Marchessault's uptick last season. And Eichel was largely responsible, but I think Marchessault was responsible for some of Eichel's stuff last year too. Someone's got to finish those pucks. Someone's got to score those goals. Someone has to take the attention away so Eichel can find passing and or shooting lanes. Like Tony wants more shooting from Jack Eichel. So
a lot more, tons more.
This is why I think Mark Stone is the one who's going to draw on that wing. It concerns me from the perspective of loading up on that top line. But Eichel, Stone, and Dorofeev, the more I think about it, the more it just makes sense to me. Especially with Stone's comments about Dorofeev the other day and how he went out of his way in that interview to make sure to talk a little more about Dorofeev and what he brings. I really think that's our top line breaking camp. Eichel, Stone, Dorofeev, and it'll be fun. It'll be a fun line to watch.
What do you feel that Eichel could do better? Do you feel as though Bruce Cassidy might retool the power play unit? And I think, again, we talked about this during the course of this past season. I really did feel that VGK became very predictable. We saw the way teams that they overplayed in the passing lanes. VGK likes to go low to high. How could they utilize Jack Eichel better this upcoming campaign?
You look at the excellent power plays out there. Edmonton's weird. You got Draisaitl and McDavid out there. Those are 2 world-class players. So maybe instead you look at a power play unit like the Tampa Bay Lightning. Stamkos obviously no longer there, but Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman moving the puck around, and Braden Point probably as well. I don't know. But 3 of those players, very good players, and it's this precision passing, and it's not just Jack Eichel's ability; it's everyone's ability. And we go back to early in season 6 before Barbashev was with the Golden Knights. How many times, Tony, were you and I saying they can't find someone to play on that wing with Jack Eichel? He's making too good of passes. He's making too good of passes, and people just couldn't handle him. And obviously, it came together at the end of the year, of course, with the Stanley Cup run, and obviously Marchessault the following season. So I don't know if this is necessarily we're going to point only at Jack Eichel for this. I think it's coaching. I think it comes down to finding the right mix of players. Noah Hannafin seems like he's got that quarterback job all lined up, and I don't know if that's the right decision, honestly. I think Shea Theodore, if there's one place he's excelled, has been on the power play. There's a lot of places Theodore's excelled, but the power play certainly is a great place, and it seems like, if the second unit ever gets out there, which they really didn't in the playoffs, it was a 1-unit power play for the most part. It looks like it's going to be Noah Hannafin at the QB position with the best quarterback for the Vegas Golden Knights power play possibly sitting on the bench. So personnel decisions, I think, is the most important thing. And you can't be predictable, Tony. Like you said, I don't know if I have the answer. The Golden Knights power play, we've talked about this. They rely on motion. They rely on puck movement. They rely on that motion. They rely on basically someone on the opposition breaking away from their positioning and chasing the puck. The second someone chases a puck, that makes the entire other side of the ice either open or the bumper position becomes open. So that motion's going to go. It needs to go. It needs to be quicker. It needs to have more urgency, of a lovely word in professional sports.
Okay. Oh, the bumper position. Who will that be? Will that be Tomas Hertl this season? Who's in the bumper?
Stone, Hurdle, Dorofeev, combination of those three.
Okay. And then the other thing about Eichel too, sometimes I think if I were VGK's coaching staff, I would spend most of this summer. They have plenty of time. Keep in mind that's a little dig. I would spend a lot of time just dissecting Edmonton's. You talked about Edmonton. Why not dissect their power play unit and see how you can replicate some of the things? The other deal too. VGK
You
so
can't replicate
tentative.
McDavid, though, bro. You cannot replicate McDavid and Draisaitl.
I get that part, but just the way they move the puck around, and then indecisiveness for VGK, I think, was the number one issue that they had. And I thought that Eichel played into that a lot. I thought that he was indecisive a lot, or just trying to make that extra pass when, again, he could shoot a lot more.
Vegas was 21st on the power play last season. Here's your top 10 teams: Tampa, Carolina, New York Rangers, Edmonton, Colorado, Dallas, Toronto, Florida, Detroit. Florida and Detroit, those are probably, and maybe even more Detroit, right? Detroit, you got Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat, Luke Raymond, most likely some up-and-coming players. You don't have a team of necessarily bona fide superstars like Tampa, at least for the power play, like your New York Rangers, Tony, for the power play. Obviously, Edmonton Oilers and Colorado Avalanche. So what are the Detroit Red Wings doing on the power play? That's the team that I would want to mirror. And again, maybe they have a different personnel where it wouldn't work in Vegas. Fine, so be it. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Detroit is 9th. Minnesota's 10th. And Los Angeles Kings were 11th on the power play. The old adage, top 10 on the kill, top 10 on the power play, and that puts you in a good chance to make a deep playoff run. It's a little different. I think the year the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup, they were 16th overall in the regular season. So that's not necessarily a be-all, tell-all. Let's see, the Golden Knights Stanley Cup winning season, yeah, right in the middle. Looks like somewhere between 15 and 18, just without counting there. So make the power play serviceable, and if you're not going to score on the power play, don't waste the power play. There's nothing worse than watching a dead power play. They move the puck around. They make terrible entry. This is not a Golden Knights comment. This is a general power play comment. There's nothing worse than a power play that doesn't penetrate the blue line and that doesn't control the puck and doesn't get any shots on goal. That gives all the energy and gives a great boost to the opposition. And also it sucks the energy out of the offense. It's not good for the team that's on the power play. A good power play just doesn't score in the power play, but they wear out the other team's top defensive players.
From the Edmonton Oil Kings to the Kamloops Blazers, to the Henderson Silver Knights, to VGK, perhaps. Jakub Demek, more coffee, is making some noise. We look at Demek and other WHL prospects right after this on this WTF edition, WTF on that lead-in edition of Locked On Golden Knights. We are driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't so much the search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. You can definitely see and match through the matching engine that helps you to find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And listeners of this show, Locked On Golden Knights, coming to you live from Kamloops, and listeners of Locked On Golden Knights will get a $75 sponsored job credit, and you could get your jobs more visibility. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Again, Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show, Locked On Golden Knights, by saying that you heard it right here on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. back on this WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us in places like Kamloops. It's plural, it's just not Kamloop. It's Kamloops. You could find us wherever you get your podcasts, of course. And on Saturdays, sometimes it's the Chris Jr. podcast show, the exclusive, on our YouTube channel, which, of course, you should be subscribed to that by now, right? Okay, Jakob Demek, the 128th pick in the 2021 draft. He is a center, and he is being fast-tracked for VGK from Slovakia, played in 2021-22 with the Edmonton Oil Kings, and then in 22-23 in my most popular city of the day, Kamloops. And then last season, he's up with HSK in the AHL. Does Demek find his way up to the parent club this season? He says he wants to. He comes off of a season with Henderson in which he played in 55 games, 16 points, 6'4", 210. What's there not to like about his frame? He did have shoulder surgery after his final junior season in Kamloops, we might add. But just 21 years old, has a ton of upside. But why this enormous buzz around Jakob Demek?
I don't know if there's an enormous buzz. I mean,
you're not feeling it? I feel it, bro.
No, listen, I like the trajectory. I like where he started. I like where he is now. I like that he wants to make his debut in 24-25. Is there a path to that, considering the Golden Knights got 5 pretty good centers on the roster? I don't know if that's necessarily a reasonable ask, but you never know. You never know. Go ahead, Tony.
Cassidy likes centers.
Cassidy definitely likes centers, no doubt about that. And listen, who knows? I mean, there's going to be injuries, right? It happens. Eichel missed 18 games last year or 20 games, whatever the number was. And, Tomas Hertl, a lot of questions, obviously. Carlson and Nick Wash should be somewhat reliable. So we'll see what opportunities present themselves throughout the season. But, 6'4", 210, a little big for a center, but I don't think that's going to necessarily work against him. I don't look at that as a top 6 type of center, but again, could be someone who is a warm, serviceable body, so to speak, that does a good job. Now, AHL, 55 games, 16 points. That doesn't necessarily scream, it's definitely not going to be someone you're looking at to score. Obviously, if he gets a goal in the AHL, awesome, wonderful, woo. Oil Kings, point per game in the WHL with the Oil Kings, and then obviously your favorite Kamloops Blazers, 11 points before obviously coming up to Henderson or over to Henderson or wherever Kamloops is or down. But so, I mean, listen, it's all about opportunity, right? Obviously, advantage Ryan Craig being his coach, getting him ready for Cassidy's system, and we'll see.
He played on the 4th line, and he was just in and out of the lineup for HSK last season. He did win
55 games, play a lot of games. That's almost all of them.
Yeah, but the way that they were talking about him, he didn't play like complete games, or they just mixed it up, or they might have pared it down to 3 lines.
Well, that's the entire that's every Silver Knights season back to 2020.
Right. So he played sporadically. So that's a pretty decent season, and durable with 55
durable, very important word, very important.
Surgery, right?
Sustainable.
He did win the WHL championship with those Oil Kings, and I feel as though he could be the prospect that VGK develops to the NHL. Called up to practice with VGK last season. He got a little taste, and now he goes, I'm going to play for the Golden Knights this season coming up. He's very confident about making it up to that level at some point. He'll be a call-up perhaps at some point this season.
Very reasonable perspective. Again, opportunities galore, and this isn't just going to be for Demek, but for any of the other WHL prospects. And we'll see where Brisson ends up and stuff, not to get off track here, but there's going to be opportunity for a lot of Henderson Silver Knights players because, one, the Golden Knights lost some of their depth, and 2, that's just, more opportunities.
And what about the word chemistry? You didn't throw that buzzword in. He did have a shootout goal, right? Didn't he, for HSK last season?
I watched the replay of it. Nice little backhand forehand move, against Tucson. We'll take it.
Okay, he was in development camp 3 times. So I saw that he was there this year, and he said that his role had changed in that he was there to help newcomers adapt faster.
Good.
He said, this is pretty interesting, something that we perhaps sometimes overlook about development camp. They're there to show leadership. That is a big quality that VGK is looking for out of some of its younger players. So he took on a leadership role. It's pretty good, right?
It's very good. You and I have had a lot of questions about things that the team has done this offseason. A lot of questions, and
I'll
it's
get
very
ripped. I'll
fair.
get ripped. Was I negative there? I'm being so positive.
No. My point is,
No,
there's
that's a
been a
good
lot
thing.
of concerns from a character perspective and locker room presence and people that got drafted last season. So the fact that they are taking a player who's younger and seeing how he responds to having some leadership, it's not just about what you're doing on the ice, it's about off the ice. I think a lot of people put too much value in their on the ice performance when they're trying to get noticed and things like that. And it might be the things that are happening between drills when players are interacting. Are they screwing around, checking each other into the boards, or are they having a genuine conversation about what they're going to do when they do the drill? Are they paying attention when the coach is talking? You can tell when you're looking players in the eye who is there in the moment and present, like we love, Coach Cassie loves to say, being in the now, so to speak. You can tell. And Demick, I think, is someone that they're looking at as someone who just does the little things right. And again, being a professional hockey player, it's not just showing up at the rink and having that skill. There's so much more that goes into it. And Demick probably isn't even close to having 30% of what you need, but that development camp going through as a leader, helping younger players out, that certainly gets him that much closer.
It's funny. Younger
With
players,
17 and 18-year-olds, he's an old man.
exactly. Yeah, and I think they'll give him one more look in the rookie face-off and see if he is developing, if he's prepared.
See how close.
And then he'll be invited to camp for VGK, and then we'll just take it from there and see how close he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's not making the day one roster unless it could happen. Unless with the myriad of injuries, which, well, that could happen too, unfortunately.
But hey, and especially if VGK struggles on that fourth line, he could get a call up for sure.
Sure. I mean, you never know.
Is he going to be a fourth line center, you think?
I think fourth or third line is where, just based off of his build and things go.
Yep, for sure.
5 years from now, maybe he is a top line center. You never know. That's the beauty of it.
Other WHL prospects.
We should not have done WHL before WTF, Tony. This is throwing me off. Too many W's.
WTFHL. The center, Jordan Gustafson, they spell center CENTRE. So we have to start spelling it Canadian on this show. Gustafson signed an entry-level contract with the Golden Knights last season, played for the Seattle Thunderbirds, had 14 points in 13 games after returning from an injury, and a couple of other players. Ben Hammerling, he's been at these development camps, right? The 5'11" winger. I did not realize that with those famous Everett Silvertips, he scored 31 goals, had 61 assists and 91 points last season. Wow.
No, that's a pretty remarkable stat line. And as far as WHL players, I know Shea Theodore, Seattle Thunderbirds. I'm trying to think of what other current VGK players have that WHL pedigree. But
wait, I was surprised that you have that knowledge, being that you're a man of the Q.
A man of the what?
Of the Q, QMH.
Oh, the QMJ. Yeah. We were, when I was selling sports cards the other day.
You're a man of the people and of the Q.
All right, so I'm taking 15 seconds here, maybe a little bit longer. So in my business with sports cards, you, instead of buying a spot by a team where you'd get like all the Oilers cards, you can break it down by player. So you can buy the McDavid spot. I could buy the Draisaitl spot and stuff like that. It's a new way of doing it.
So
And
when that player comes up, you get that card.
exactly, 100%. I'm doing a big one
Okay.
today, actually. So anyone wants to come on Whatnot today about 10 a.m. local time. Big break. Anyway, moving past from that. So we were looking at some of like the lower type of players and stuff, like the $10 and $15 spots, and like who is this guy here? So I'm looking up on the Hockey DB and stuff, and I got a facial camera, so I'm like showing the stats and stuff. And I'm like, this guy's in the QMJH. Let's go get this guy. He's from the Q, and I was having a blast. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
The Q made an appearance on my sports card show.
Coming up next, we do have WTF. Stay with us. What the Friday? It comes your way next right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you by Game Time. Game Time's got a lot of great features that we utilize. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time credits you 110% of the difference. You've got Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets or any tickets for that by downloading the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. And there is something big happening at Game Time that we have to tell you about. One of the features that is currently happening there, the Diamondbacks Labor Day ticket offer. So you will receive, this game is at Arizona, 50% off to the Dodgers Diamondbacks game in Arizona and Phoenix on Labor Day. It's exclusive to Game Time. There is limited availability. Get your tickets while they last. It's a Labor Day special. Again, download Game Time today. Go to Game Time, the Game Time app. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco by himself. Oh, here we go. Thank you. And Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you tuning in, especially our everydayers. I like to wake up to sunshine, bro. And it's getting darker out earlier. Not a fan. WTF, what the Friday? So VGK signed left winger Tanner Pearson this week to a PTO. Now, Golick has convinced me that Pearson might have a chance to stick with the Golden Knights. Is Brendan Brisson going backwards? WTF.
Like we said, really fast, Pearson has one of two. Pearson is going to go do this PTO for one of two reasons for the Golden Knights. One, he's going to make the team and bring experience to a roster that lacks a little bit of experience on the wing. Or number two, Dorofeev, Brisson, Holtz, and Olofsson have a little more competition for playing time. That's a win-win. So I think Pearson is going through this PTO because the Golden Knights have a role in mind for him. And that's going to be a bottom six type of role, 19th type of forward maybe, where he might be a healthy scratch opening night. But I do think Pearson has a legit opportunity to make the roster. I'll start right here. Lloyd's Drive-Thru Barbecue, that's the YouTube name. I don't know. This person just doesn't like us. On our show,
Like
actually,
you.
about
I
Tanner
think
Pearson.
it's about you. I thought
Yeah, it's about both of us. It's definitely about both of us. So I think we're responding to Stone's first comments on the next season and stuff like that. And Lloyd's made a comment that we called Mark Stone the slowest skater in the league, which we never
did.
No, did you?
I don't know.
No, I don't think you call him. He's a slow skater, but he's not the slowest skater in the league. But Mark Stone will be the first one to tell you that.
We went through those 20+ mile an hour bursts, and he had none. He might have had 2 or 3. Come on.
It wasn't probably a lot, but that's the thing.
No.
Stone finds ways to win the game with his mind and stuff like that. It's like Peyton Manning kind of, as his career got to the end, didn't move around very well.
We
but
say
the dude was so
in
smart.
the horse game that he has tactical speed.
Exactly. So Lloyd made the comment that, like, I wouldn't make a comment to these, like, if I was talking with the players and face-to-face with them. I have asked players about their shortcomings many times, Ivan Barbashev being one, and I've questioned Coach Cassidy many times, and that's what the job is, to ask questions and things like that. So I definitely don't understand that comment. And
You asked those questions, let me just add to that, in a professional manner. But you do ask those questions face to face. You do.
It's important, and I want the
we have
answer, and I
video
want other people to know.
evidence. We have video
Yeah.
evidence.
They're exactly 100%. So, and then here we go. So this is where I actually compliment Lloyd. So I said, Lloyd, please find where we said he's the slowest player, Mark Stone. Please reference where we said that. And then I also made points to reference that I was extremely complimentary of Stone's skating in January, right before his injury, unfortunately. The dude was moving so much better than he ever had. So Lloyd says August 9th show, 15:28 into the show. Lloyd, listen, we don't agree, but I cannot express how much we do appreciate
Thank you so much
you
for
looking
listening
into
and
all
watching.
this and watching the shows. So
Yep,
it's awesome, and thank you for that. No,
And
all
thanks.
jokes aside. But apparently Stone is so slow and old he probably couldn't even finish the race up and down the length of the ice, according to you. I didn't crack that joke. No, I cracked that joke. You made a comment about a race, and I said he might not. I said it like really low under my breath.
Well, that's good then.
It was a joke, though, and I said, like, obviously you can't tell the difference between a reality and joke, G. So WTF on a positive side. This is a good up and back, Lloyd, and we don't agree, but I do appreciate you.
Thank you, Lloyd. WTF. I've got one more WTF. Wow, we're going way over today.
Why not? I got more
Did
too.
Mark Stone fire up the local fan base or all the other fan bases with his comments this week? I think we need, you know what?
It's captain speak. That's good.
So they had some issues yesterday. 2 women handicappers on social media. One does walking bets. The other one kind of picked up and started her own walking bets. I did it first. I own that, whatever. We need more supermarket parking lot posts from Mark Stone. He should have his own feature. He should. People want to see VGK crash and burn. I still don't know who he's alluding to. Is it fans from other organizations? Is it former players? I was thinking it could be former players.
Yes, the answer is yes there.
It could be. But just wild post all over Twitter when we posted those comments. Is it something that was better to be left unsaid? Is that aimed at Dallas fans who booed him repeatedly every time that he touched the puck? To me, I don't know if this can backfire. Does it fire up the VGK fans and his teammates, or does it work in reverse? And now everyone has that target on VGK's back. It's going to be a rough season for Mark Stone because he's going to get booed, not just in Dallas, but in several arenas this upcoming season. WTF.
VGK, if they're going to come out with a new jersey, they need a villain jersey. I've talked about this. The Golden Knights need to lean into this as hard as they can. I even suggested a villain promotional night.
I like it.
At a Golden Knights game where people come dressed as villains, come dressed as your favorite villain.
Oh, I like
and the
that.
Golden Knights have this like black on black jersey, like what the Golden Knight wore for the. What's that?
Is that something that Marvel Comics could do or something? Do they
I don't know. Golden Knights can figure all that crap out, but
no, I like that. Well, we've got the Aviators here. They did the Gamblers Night, right? The Las Vegas Gamblers. They changed everything in the theme. They just had the Las Vegas Whales Night. The whales being the high rollers, and their logo was a whale, which I thought was cool. So Vegas, but the villains would work. That would work. WTF? That would work.
And they do a black, like a black on black jersey where the Golden Knights logo is really dark on it, and just lean right into it. Just lean right into it, and the players would take to it real fast here. So on this Mark Stone post, I think if we would have had $1 for however many people said we want the team to fail this season, I think we'd probably have about $9 off of this post.
That was great interactions. Some of the
Nick Bailey jumping on us, a bunch of people. I mean, majority of the R31 fan bases, and then here come the IR and LTIR rules from people and stuff. Fine, whatever. But my point is that, and not even Tony, but we don't. Tony is Tony. You're Tony. You're who you are, Tony. But we don't want the team to fail. We don't want the team to do bad. It's a lot worse talking about a crappy team than it is a team that's succeeding on the ice. And I'm interested in next season. This is not the same Golden Knights team. It's a heck of a lot.
So intrigued in this.
What's that?
You're intrigued by this.
No, I am very intrigued. I am intrigued from really when the rookie camp starts to see which players make that step. And maybe someone who the team wasn't considering bringing to the VGK camp has that rookie camp, and maybe that rookie impresses. And even to the point where Bruce Cassidy looks past that player earning their stripes, so to speak, and, someone gets a shot. You never know. Those are the fun stories. But again, the battle for, basically 5 players for probably 3 positions right now in opening night. Now, where you add Tanner Pearson to that with Brisson, Olofsson, Dorofeev, Holtz, and everything. And obviously, where's Barbashev going to fit? Are they going to load up with Stone on the top line? There's so many interesting things this year. Can this team be successful? Sure. They're 1 or 2 pieces away from, I think, being a Stanley Cup team, and whether that gets addressed in 25-26 or if the opportunity presents itself in January and February when the trade deadline approaches, McCrimmon will be out there doing it and trying to set this team up to win a Stanley Cup because he doesn't know any better. That's the only way McCrimmon operates, and I think we should be thankful as people in Las Vegas who support the National Hockey League that McCrimmon's going to sell out every year and find a way. Whether 4 or 5 years from now the check comes and the team struggles and rebuilds for a while, I don't care. This has been an amazing now 8-year ride. It's been awesome, and it's going to continue. And if the team has a doom and gloom rebuild, who cares? Who cares? Stanley Cup in season 6.
I have one final WTF. Can we just go to a single screen for this? Just a single screen. Can you do that? Boy. One final WTF on this Friday. VGK Insider. The buzz remains. Not really. Not really. There's no buzz. WTF. Okay. Back to
after everything I said about how positive, you just want to just crap on it right there. I think the buzz is, but wasn't the quote? I think we have to be fair, Tony. Wasn't the buzz? Didn't he correlate the buzz as winning in that article?
I don't know.
I think that's how it was. So let's cite it properly. And the concerning point, as we're going to go way long today, I don't care anymore. The concerning point is what happens to that buzz.
The chief is on vacation. We're good. He's on vacation.
Oh, I don't care. Okay. But what happens to that buzz if the team doesn't win? That's the question. And that's a point that will be looked at in this article 2 and 3 and 5 months down the road if the team struggles. And
you and
I will bring that up. You and I will bring that up.
Did you like the single screen for effect? That was pretty good.
Pretty dramatic. Okay. It was a little overdone.
We appreciate.
You know, I didn't agree with you, so you wanted me out of the equation. I appreciate that.
Okay, we appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers, especially all the folks from Kamloops. For my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you again next week right here on Lockdown Golden Knights, and please take care.